The wind howled through the empty streets, carrying dust and silence with it. It was the kind of evening that made people rush home, lock their doors, and forget about the world outside. But on that cold sidewalk sat a man who had nowhere to go, and nothing left to give except one small piece of bread he hadn't eaten in 2 days. His hands trembled as he held that last bit of food, knowing it was the only thing standing between him and another sleepless, hungry night. But what happened next would change his life forever. Before we begin, if stories like this touch your heart, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Welcome to Kindness Story Hub, where every story reminds us how powerful a simple act of kindness can be. Daniel Harper wasn't always homeless. Just 3 years ago, he had a small apartment, a steady job at a local hardware store, and a life that felt normal. Not perfect, but stable. He had a morning routine, a favorite coffee shop, and even a savings account he was slowly building. But life has a way of turning quietly, and then all at once. First, the store closed down after years of declining sales. Daniel thought he'd find another job quickly. He was hardworking, honest, dependable. But weeks turned into months. Interviews came and went, each ending with the same polite rejection. Then his savings ran out, bills piled up. Rent became impossible. And one morning, he stood in his empty apartment, holding a cardboard box with everything he owned. That was the day Daniel lost his home. At first, he tried to stay hopeful. He slept in shelters when he could, picked up odd jobs here and there, and told himself this was temporary. But over time, hope became harder to hold on to. The world moved on without him. People stopped making eye contact. Conversations became rare. He became invisible. On that cold evening, Daniel sat outside a small convenience store, his back against the wall, his stomach aching. A kind cashier had given him a piece of bread earlier that day, nothing fancy, just plain and a little stale. But to Daniel, it was everything. He looked at it now, turning it slowly in his hands. Just one more night, he whispered to himself. Tomorrow will be better. But just as he was about to take a bite, he heard something. A soft, weak voice. Sir? Daniel looked up. Standing a few feet away was a young boy, no older than 10. His clothes were worn, his face pale, and his eyes told a story Daniel knew too well. Hunger. Do you have anything to eat? The boy asked quietly. Daniel froze for a moment. He didn't know what to say. His fingers tightened around the bread. His body screamed at him to eat, to take care of himself for once. After all, no one had helped him. No one had stopped to ask if he was okay. Why should he give up the only thing he had? But then, he saw himself in that boy, the same empty eyes. The same quiet desperation. The same silent plea for someone, anyone, to care. Daniel took a deep breath. Yeah, he said softly. I do. He broke the bread in half, then paused. The boy looked at him, hopeful but unsure. Daniel hesitated for just a second longer, and then, without another word, he handed the boy the larger piece. The boy's eyes widened. Are you sure? Daniel nodded, forcing a small smile. Go on. You need it more than I do. The boy took the bread carefully, like it was something precious. Thank you, he whispered, and then he ran off, disappearing into the night. Daniel sat there, staring at the smaller piece in his hand. He felt something strange, not regret, not exactly happiness either, but something warm. Something human. For the first time in a long time, he didn't feel invisible. He closed his eyes and finally took a bite. That night was harder than the others. The small piece of bread wasn't enough. Hunger gnawed at him as he tried to sleep on the cold pavement. His body ached, and his thoughts wandered. Was that a mistake? He wondered. Maybe I should have kept it. But deep down, he knew something, even if it cost him comfort. It felt right. Morning came slowly. Daniel woke up stiff and exhausted. The city buzzed to life around him, cars honking, people rushing to work, the world moving forward as if nothing had happened. He stood up, brushing off his jacket, and began walking. No plan. No destination, just another day. Hours passed. He checked dumpsters behind restaurants, hoping to find scraps. Nothing. He asked a few people for spare change. Most ignored him. One man told him to get a job. By afternoon, Daniel felt weaker than ever. He sat down on a bench in a quiet park, his head in his hands. "I can't keep doing this," he whispered. That's when he heard footsteps. "Sir?" Daniel looked up. It was the same boy, but this time, he wasn't alone. Standing beside him was a woman in her late 30s, neatly dressed, her expression a mix of concern and curiosity. "Is this him?" she asked the boy. The boy nodded quickly. "Yeah. That's the man I told you about. He gave me his food." Daniel blinked, confused. "What's going on?" The woman stepped forward. "My name is Rebecca. This is my son, Liam." Daniel nodded slowly. "Liam told me what you did last night," she continued. "He said you gave him your last piece of bread, even though you were hungry yourself." Daniel shrugged, uncomfortable. "It was nothing." Rebecca shook her head. "No. It wasn't nothing." She paused, studying him. "You don't look like someone who belongs on the street," she said gently. Daniel let out a small, tired laugh. "Life doesn't always ask where you belong." For a moment, there was silence, then Rebecca said something Daniel never expected. "I run a small community center nearby," she said. "We help people get back on their feet, job training, meals, temporary housing. We're actually looking for someone to help with maintenance and repairs." Daniel stared at her, unsure if he heard correctly. "I'm not promising anything big," she added. "But it's a start. If you're willing." Daniel's throat tightened. "To start," he repeated. He looked at Liam, who was smiling quietly. "You did something kind for my son," Rebecca said softly. "Let me do something kind for you." For a moment, Daniel couldn't speak. Everything he had lost, everything he thought was gone forever, suddenly didn't feel so far away. "I'd like that," he finally said. Rebecca smiled. "Good. Let's get you something to eat first." That single moment, that one piece of bread, changed everything. Over the next few weeks, Daniel began working at the community center. It wasn't easy. He had to relearn routines, rebuild confidence, and face the doubts that had grown inside him, but slowly, things began to change. He had meals every day, a small room to sleep in, people who knew his name, and most importantly, a purpose. Daniel worked hard. He fixed broken chairs, painted walls, and helped wherever he could. And every time he felt tired or discouraged, he remembered that night, the cold sidewalk, the hungry boy, the choice he made. Months later, Daniel stood in front of a mirror, adjusting a clean shirt. He had a job, a steady income, and plans for the future, but more than that, he had something he thought he'd lost forever: hope. One afternoon, as he was leaving work, he saw Liam again. "Hey," the boy called, running up to him. Daniel smiled. "Hey, kid. You're not homeless anymore," Liam said proudly. Daniel chuckled. "No. I guess I'm not." Liam grinned. "See? I told my mom you were a good person." Daniel looked at him, his heart full. "You know," he said, "you helped me more than you think." Liam tilted his head. "How?" Daniel knelt down slightly. "That night. I thought I was giving everything away," he said. "But I wasn't." He smiled. "I was getting something back. Sometimes, kindness feels like a loss, like giving away the only thing you have, like choosing someone else's need over your own. But the truth is, kindness has a way of coming back, not always in the same form, not always right away, but it comes back." Daniel gave away his last piece of bread, and for a moment, it seemed like he lost everything, but in reality, that was the moment he found his way back. So the next time you have a choice, whether to hold on or to give, remember this story, because even the smallest act of kindness can change a life, maybe even your own. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a little hope today. This is Kindness Story Hub, where every story reminds us kindness is never wasted.